On today's show,
Brace for impact. We debate whether LeBron flopped after being fouled by Draymond Green.
should Melo waive his no-trade clause? Does Mr. Fourth Quarter deserve to start the All-Star game?
And the Knicks steal the show in a long weekend edition of Whoopsies.
It's Tuesday, January 17th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Taz Mellis.
With so much drama in the NYC, it's kind of hard being Carmelo Anthony.
Whoa, to his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
Lily, and last, certainly not least over there, it's the bearded one. It's Trey Kirby.
Hey!
Oh, Trey, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters. And guys, things are not going so well for the New York Knicks these days. They can't stop losing. Their best player is feuding with their front office. Their pets' heads are falling off. Well, maybe not the last one, but guard Courtney Lee did post 2 Dumb and Dumber pictures to his Instagram yesterday. This came right after the Knicks lost to the Hawks and right after Courtney Lee didn't start for the first time this season. So naturally, people assumed Lee was calling the Knicks Dumb and Dumber, but he clarified in another Instagram post, writing, "I posted a pic of Dumb and Dumber because that was my mood, no jab at no one. It's dumb that we have a talented team and we're in position to win games and keep losing by 1 possession. We'll figure it out collectively as a team, but that was my mood after the game. It has nothing to do with any change, rotation, system, players, coaches, so let that be clear. In other news, happy MLK Day." Well, happy MLK Day to you too. And it brings us to today's question. What other movies could describe the Knicks? And there's an obvious one to me, and it's Superbad. As you might remember, some people thought the Knicks were a super team. Turned out they're a pooper team, and that's bad. But we want to hear from you, so let us know on Twitter what other movies could describe the Knicks. Send us your best tweets to hashtag the starters, and we'll hear from you a little bit later.
Oh, I can't wait for these answers. These are going to be good. All right, we got a fun show tonight. Ro Parrish will join us live from Miami to get a set for tonight's Fan Night doubleheader. And we have a supersized edition of Weekend Whoopsies. We had the long Weekend Whoopsies, so we'll get to that. The Knicks, they feature heavily in that one as well. But first, let's play a little 3-on-3. It's pretty simple. Trey's got 3 questions for the 3 of us here. His name is also Trey. That's a 3. It just all makes sense. TK, first one.
All right, the Cavs and Warriors had their final regular season matchup yesterday, and the game was pretty much over by halftime as the Warriors won in a blowout. However, the one play that got everyone talking was the LeBron-Draymond dust-up in the second quarter that resulted in Draymond Green being assessed a flagrant 1 foul after quite the sell from LeBron James. Be honest, did LeBron flop?
That word sell is what happened. He got hit, but let's not act like he made his body go that way. We just talked about the last week how they were talking about getting calls in Cleveland, how he's not getting calls because he's such a huge body and he has to flop. He has to roll his head back to get calls. And that's what he did here. Yeah, Draymond hit him.
Yeah.
But he sold it.
Of course he did.
And the lie down was not required. I mean, there was a nice little snooze afterwards.
I liked when he got up and rubbed his beard like his beard hurt. Yeah, he was trying to sell. He was trying to bait Draymond Green into what happened in last year's finals, where he went a little over the line and obviously ended up missing a game. I think he was just trying to change the momentum of this entire game because they were getting blown out very early in that. He's hoping, maybe we get Draymond a little too fired up and he gets kicked out or something. It obviously didn't work, but LeBron flopped or sold it.
Yeah,
he got hit, but he still tried to embellish it.
He did try to embellish it, but there is a clear difference between flopping, where we see guys don't even get hit and they throw their arms and their head back.
Fair.
LeBron gets whacked on that play, and then he says, "While I'm down here, I may as well stay down for a little bit." I think the right call was made, a flagrant 1. I don't think Draymond deserved to be ejected, but I think a flagrant 1 was the right call.
Flagrant 1 it was a little too much for me because it's basically he is committing an intentional foul to stop the play, and
that should be a flagrant 1 then if it's an intentional foul.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Hold on, guys stop guys going on the break all the time.
Not like that though. They don't do it like that.
No.
They grab them in a more subtle way. This is Draymond coming right across him and getting him in the jaw in that shoulder area. I mean, he clearly makes rougher than necessary contact on the play.
Yeah, the fact that you got Steve Kerr and Mike Brown, assistant coach there, kind of laughing along with Draymond Green shows me. Well, no, it doesn't help, but it shows me that they're extremely confident no matter what the situation. They didn't try and tame Draymond Green.
Right.
You know, some people are worried that Draymond Green may overstep the line. The Warriors seem extremely comfortable with Draymond Green and the way he's acting.
All right, so we sort of agree on this one. Tuve say it's sort of more of a flop. Lee says I guess a flagrant one was
The right
call. All right, try next one.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the Knicks are struggling, losing 11 of their last 13 games while making all the wrong kinds of headlines. Things have gotten so bad that Carmelo Anthony met with Phil Jackson today to discuss Melo's future with the team. And while he reportedly told Phil he wasn't ready to waive his no-trade clause, my question for you guys is this. Should Melo waive his no-trade clause?
If he wants to win, I guess he should, because he's not going to win in New York right now. I mean, the situation has been the same year in, year out for the last few years. Promising season this year, got off to a good start, and now
14 and 10, yeah.
once again things are just falling apart. To see them make the leap from where they are right now to competing for a championship, while Melo, he's 32 now, he's going to be 33 next season. I just don't see it happening. But if he wants to stay in New York, it's totally his prerogative. It's in his contract that he can do that. But he's just not going to win a championship if he does that.
Yeah, if I'm Melo and I was staying in New York, then yeah, I'm not waiving that no trade clause. At the same time, you're right. This is a win now team. They're not winning now.
No.
So Carmelo Anthony going past his prime, you know, and they are going to try and surround him with other parts come free agency this offseason. How is that going to be any better than it currently is? It's not. That being said, I think he could have handled the situation better. I don't think responding to an article written by Phil Jackson's friend is needed to be responded to at all by Carmelo Anthony in the media. Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. It's a no-win situation.
Well, that article
asked him
probably
about it.
doesn't need to be written in the first place.
Yeah.
If you believe that Phil Jackson and Charlie Rosen are obviously still almost connected at the hip, and that Charlie's writing through Phil in a way, and maybe that's what's happening.
I don't know if he has a ghostwriter about his thoughts. I mean,
Well,
how
he's
do we
done
know
it
that?
in the past.
How does Carmelo Anthony know that? What's the point of what is the benefit of talking about it?
The point would be for Phil Jackson to anger Melo enough through this article of calling him out and saying he's washed up that he would waive his no trade clause, and then you could ultimately trade him. That would be the point. Now, whether or not that's truthful or not, and whether Phil Jackson, again, is really connected there to Charlie Rosen, who wrote that in that fan rag column, I don't know. But that, to me, is a classic Zen master, long con, 3 steps ahead type of move, whether you truly even believe that. Whether even Phil Jackson even cares, because we haven't heard from Phil Jackson in any of this. Luckily, you know, Melo and Phil Jackson have reportedly at least sat down and talked. But you're right, Melo just seems happy that he wants to live and play basketball in New York, and maybe he doesn't ultimately really care right now about trying to win a championship. He's got 3 gold medals and a college championship, and maybe he's content with that.
He loses a lot of his leverage if he does waive that no-trade clause as well. Because let's say Phil has a trade worked out behind the scenes and he says, look, you can go to this team if you want, but you have to waive your no-trade clause to do it. Then at least Melo has the advantage to say, well, no, I'm not doing it for that. But if you find me the right situation, maybe he considers it then. Maybe he goes to a team that he could compete for a championship. He's done enough. He's accomplished enough that you want to see him in the finals and at least have a chance to do that.
So you, as an NBA fan, you want Melo to waive his no-trade clause, I assume.
I would
Because you'd
like-
like to
yeah.
see him either pair up with a Chris Paul in LA or even a LeBron in Cleveland or wherever, with more talent at least.
I'd
and go for
rather
a
see
title.
him do better in his current situation because they have talent. And to me, there should be better leadership. No one is without blame in this scenario, but Carmelo Anthony is part of that.
Yeah.
This entire
Right.
roster with, you know, Derrick Rose saying that Jeff Hornacek has got to get us more motivated, LeBron saying that, you know, we got to run more of the pick and roll, and Courtney Lee coming out with Dumb and Dumber photos. Everybody's got an opinion, but nobody really wants to drop and get on their knees and fight for and scrap for basketballs. That's my problem. And I think Carmelo Anthony could be that leader. He's just not
All right, Trey.
being that leader.
Final one.
All right, whether you call him the pizza guy, the IT guy, or the solution, Isaiah Thomas has been balling out all season long. And after going for 17 in the fourth quarter of yesterday's win over the Hornets, Thomas is leading the league with 10.1 points per fourth quarter, better than hundreds of players average for an entire game. Simple question. Should Isaiah Thomas start the All-Star game? The answer is yes.
Yeah, get him
the answer
in.
is
The answer is yes.
absolutely yes.
Him and Kyle Lowry.
I agree with
Can
that.
be starting
Those
guards.
should be your starters, and then it gets really cloudy with all the reserve picks in terms of the guards, and DeRozan and Wall, and does Kemba
Yeah.
get in there, and where's Kyrie Irving in this
I
mix?
think all of them make it.
All 6 of those guards
Yeah.
then. Wow, well,
That's
it's
gonna be-
possible.
I think it's going to be a guard-heavy
Possible.
team.
But Isaiah Thomas,
should.
absolute no-brainer, should be starting this All-Star game.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter that 2 point guards are starting the All-Star game. It doesn't matter
cares?
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, some people want an SG in there because it has an SG
Have
in
you
front
seen
of their
this
name.
guy play? I mean, he's
Yeah.
basically a shooting guard. He is the closest thing we've seen really to an Iverson-like size of a guy dominating scoring. He's 5'9". He's probably not even that.
Yeah, he's been on fire too lately. I mean, it's certainly helping his case that he's had his best stretch of his career over these last few weeks. And game winners, the 50-point game, the 44-point game. He's doing everything. going to be tough to see if he does get in, though, because he's not leading the fan voting, of course, so it's going to come down to the media and the players.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, I think we can agree, he's at least going to be an all-star regardless.
Yes, there's no doubt
whether
about that.
he
Yeah.
actually starts this game. But
Yes.
can you think of a more fun guy in an all-star game setting than Isaiah Thomas? I know he made it there last year. I'd love to see him have another chance at it. A little more comfortable in the setting to go for big scoring record. He could easily go for 30 or 40 in a game like that.
Yeah, and he has been the king in the fourth, except when he played against the Toronto Raptors. Raptors took
had to
care of
point
business.
that out.
They are the North. They run that operation. Okay, they are the Game of Thrones. The second thing, though, he's doing this. In the fourth quarter, it's like a Damian Lillard thing. That's Damian
Get your own
Lillard.
thing,
Pull
yeah.
out the cell phone and look at your time. No one uses a watch anymore. Just pretend like you're pulling out a cell phone. That's cooler.
And those are the second fan returns in the Eastern Conference guards. Irving running away with it. But of course, we got to include the media and the players' votes, and that comes later. So Wade, DeRozan, and Thomas.
Announced this Thursday, right?
That's absolutely right on TNT. We'll find out the starters for the All-Star game. Can't wait. All right, quick break. When we return, we're going to hit you with a supersized edition of Long Weekend Whoopsies. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the starters, where it's time for Weekend Whoopsies on a Tuesday. Can you believe it?
Wild. No.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe it? Supersized edition of Weekend Whoopsies.
Sixers are great, allowing Joel Embiid to be introduced like WWE superstar Triple H. And Triple H tweeted, still have to perfect the water to spit ratio, my friend. Not bad for our first attempt. Hashtag mop that floor.
Saturday, actor and friend of the starters, Lamar Morris, gets Swaggy P there to laugh at his very own meme. Hey, Swaggy, check this out. Makes eye contact. Savage 33 killing it.
Got him.
Yeah, there it is, the classic. What? Swaggy P meme.
Forrest DL had a pretty tough possession.
Nice move.
I would,
Nice.
I would
The
pluralize that.
falling over was rough.
Gotta
And
get
then
back.
the Magic couldn't get it done on the other end.
There we go.
This doesn't work out. So Bobo's got another opportunity.
dunk it.
He's gonna make it.
It's
He's gonna
60.
make up for it. Oh,
man.
Bobo with the boo 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 boo.
Rough weekend for the Knicks. Started with Coach Fornasek there getting bopped by the ref.
He can take a hit,
Boom.
I tell you.
Yeah, was unfazed. Wow. He's okay. The Raptors hit the Knicks even harder in that game. Down by 29 early in the fourth. Some sad faces. And Melo on Monday referred to Ron Baker as a Will Ferrell character.
Burgundy came in, great minutes as a starter today, and that was the decision, and we're going with that.
Yes. Starting Knicks point guard Ron Baker is Ron Burgundy?
Easy mistake to make.
I love that. Karl Anthony Towns is not sped up here. This is just regular speed of him circling, dancing, spinning, and winning.
That big cat.
Look at
That big cat had some catnip. Going crazy there. James Harden was in a good mood Sunday, dancing through the fan tunnel there, loving it. Yeah. Then he knocks down a half-court shot in warm-ups. Back to dancing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
James Harden also part of this triple flop situation here. A very rare triple flop. Him and two Brooklyn Nets. I mean, when do you see this?
Nice.
Unless you're watching an NBA TV update in 2014 behind Chris and Ledlow. Some cool dudes doing it there.
One of those cool
Nice
dudes.
throwback there. Robin Lopez unbelievably gets the dime off the doink. Off his dome there. Yeah, I love this part. So it goes over. It's basically an assist, and he wants the scoreboard to know. Yeah, mark that down. That's mine.
This is a great one. Eric Bledsoe, he's got a layup. So he throws an alley-oop to a guy on the other team. Great stuff. Right to Rudy Gobert. Here you go.
Yeah, the best
Whoa.
defensive player maybe
Whoa.
in the league. Just hands it to him. Wilson Chandler, a little off. That's just a tad high.
Sightlines are tough there.
Yeah.
That's early in the shot clock, too. Danilo Gallinari, his teammate, he tries to throw it down from way out. I don't know.
Been watching Yanni, I think.
Yeah, Zach Levine.
I like the effort, but a step inside the free throw line, yikes.
Sergio Rodriguez. to get a little too fancy here against the Bucks. Goes around the back, sort of, but forgets the around the back totally part. Just gets stuck there.
It was gonna be nice though. You can tell.
It was gonna have some flair. You're right.
And the Warriors, big win. Steph Curry, it's a big three, and this kid just has the time of his life here. It's not quite a dab. It's more of a salute, but
Yeah.
you know,
They're not even
I don't know,
dabbing
they're
anymore.
not. They're not.
You gotta move your
They're not.
head.
I love the enthusiasm, but you gotta go to the elbow, kid.
Yeah. All right, quick break. When we return, Ro Parrish joins us live from South Beach to help us get a set for tonight's NBA TV Fan Night doubleheader. Don't go anywhere. Back with the starters, NBA TV Fan Night doubleheader. It's Rockets and Heat, followed by the Nuggets and Lakers. Coverage beginning soon after the starters here. And joining us live from South Beach for his first time on the starters, he's officially made it. It's Ro Parrish. Ro, how's it going, man?
It is going great, and yes, this is my first time I'm losing my virginity on the show. Thank you so much.
Excellent stuff. All right, well, look, let's get right into this Rockets Heat game. What's the latest status on Rockets center Clint Capella? He's been out for a while. Is he a go tonight?
He is definitely a go, and apparently he's been hitting the gym very hard. James Harden said, man, he looks bigger and stronger. Pat Beverly's excited. He's like, yo, like his length defensively, we can't wait to get that back.
Yeah, they must be so excited. Again, they've done well without him, obviously, but the Rockets, and especially James Harden, I imagine, being sort of the point of that team, they must be pumped to have a guy like that to be able to roll, obviously, in the pick and roll situation and easy buckets.
Yo, as soon as I mentioned Clint Capella today, both of these dudes, Beverly and Harden, lit up. Now, they play well without him. They went 11-4, but that pick and roll, they are deadly. In fact, the Rockets rank second in the NBA in roll man field goal percentage, so they are ready to throw it up, get some lobs to the young man.
Yeah, great addition to have Clint Capella back in the mix. All right, earlier today, Ro, you had a chance to sit down with Rockets guard Patrick Beverly. Now, when it comes to this guy, usually the talk is all about defense, but you had a chance to ask him a couple questions about playing in Mike D'Antoni's offensive wheelhouse of a team.
Yes, as you guys know, you see me a lot in the green room, and sometimes when I'm chilling, some of these NBA legends that we work with, they tell some stories, and I'm always ready to listen. Talking to Grant Hill, the OG, he told a story to me one time about when he was playing with Phoenix, and Coach D'Antoni said, you better go out and shoot 10 threes or I'm going to be upset. Yeah. So does Coach really get mad when you guys pass up on shooting the three ball?
Yeah.
That's real.
It's real. He don't care. I've been having this little wrist injury and he's been hurting every time I shoot. He don't care. Just get him up. We'll deal with it from there. But I mean, he's a guru when it comes to offense, man. When it comes just the knowledge of the basketball game and how he approaches it, man. He's the best to ever do it. The way we score points, the way we get up and down, and you get a couple stops, you put yourself in a position to win a lot of basketball games, which we're doing this year.
Get those shots up. Even Patrick Beverly, who can actually knock him down a pretty good percentage. All right, finally, before we let you go, Ro, about the Heat. Hassan Whiteside, earlier this weekend, was a little frustrated when it came to the second fan returns with the All-Star votes. He said it's all about Twitter jokes and not really about talent. What's your take on that?
All I'll say is this, is you have to have the Twitter fingers popping if you want to get in the game. And shouts out to Joel Embiid because his troll game is stellar and he throws shade like the late, great Prince. I mean, some of the tweets that he put out right before the All-Star voting was complete were classic.
Absolutely right. Yeah, here they are. First, so the SB Nation has the article on Whiteside, and there's Joel Embiid saying hashtag NBA vote on Whiteside. Awesome. Guy's ruthless. You're right.
Yeah.
And here he is. We've had a fun ride. This is the last day to vote, so retweet this for the culture. Joel Embiid is on culture. He's on fire right now. You're absolutely right.
Gotta love Embiid. Hope he makes it.
Ro, can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. Enjoy the game. We'll see you later on NBA TV for sure.
Thank you, gentlemen. I will see you later on.
I hope it was as good for you as it was for us, Ro. Final break.
It was.
After the jump, Neely hits us with his very solid play. Don't go anywhere. We asked you earlier in the show, what other movies could describe the Knicks. We had Courtney Lee calling them dumb and dumber in an Instagram post, which he immediately took down and took back. But Trey, you got a few of the best answers.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna love this first one, Skeets. It comes to us from Micah, who says the Royal Tenenbaums with Phil as an unapologetic Royal, Mello as downcast Richie, and Rose as Margot.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Giorgio says Carmelanie Snickets, a series of unfortunate events now on Netflix. He says the Knicks are the Suicide Squad. Lots of hype, potential was there, major letdown.
Oh, spoiler.
AJ says, like Snake Plissken, they want to escape from New York. Beautiful. Best answer, though, is Luke, who says 12 angry men. You saw the clip. Maybe 12 sad men.
Yeah, 12 sad men. Yeah, I don't think Ron Baker's mad. He's happy.
Yeah, he's living life.
Tonight's pick and play. Nuggets at Lakers. That is the second game, fan night tonight. 3 of us have the Lakers. Lee, the only one, taking the Nuggets. A little worried?
You'll probably win.
Yeah, it wasn't a great pick.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, that's what
Flip a
happens,
coin.
yeah.
All right, Lee. VSP, where are we going?
We're going to Phoenix, and it's just a lovely, smooth play here from the Jazz. Jingle and Joe gets it going. Gordon over to Rudy, and Derek knocks it in with a dunk. You know, I always prefer it late, but just look how smooth this play runs here.
Smooth Jazz.
Yeah, everyone gets a little touch, a little bounce pass, nice finish. That's what I call a very solid play.
On today's Twitter show, we discuss the Cavs-Warriors fallout, one-word nicknames, and Tass, well, he takes us through his top 5 sleeping shirts.
Today's top 5 are my sleep shirt rankings. The AC, the air gets into the bones if I don't have even the thinnest layer of material on my back. At this point, it's almost becoming a rag. See, how do you feel about the softness level?
Very soft.
It's very soft. Everything from the collar down is quite soft, quite comfortable, but the collar is a little stiff. The only problem with this, it's a little tight in the marching Gortatas area, just right through the breasticles. It is a starter's t-shirt.
Now that is a beautifully soft cotton shirt.
It's actually, now it's starting to pill a little bit because it's getting older. There's some mad stains. There are some mad stains, but it's so soft.
Did you sleep in that shirt on MLK Day?
What do you mean you don't know if that's blood?
I don't know what it is. This is the number one sleep
Number
shirt in
one.
the house.
Wow.
Guaranteed
Dark
good
shirt.
sleep. Another gappy.
What is that? What is that?
It's a hand.
Skeleton dipping into a
Yeah,
dream
exactly.
pool.
If you can get your hands on the number one sleep shirt, you are guaranteed a great sleep.
Sounded nice there from Tass. All right, again, NBA TV Fan Night doubleheader. Rockets Heat, Nuggets Lakers, which is our pick and play, so it's extra important. That's it for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
All right. Good luck to everyone's pick and payoff. Even you, Lee. Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, the overhead eye line is the most annoying eye line.
Brace the night, people. What? I want to know what shirt you're going to sleep in tonight.
TBD.
Can you take a photo?